Right, so everybody, this is Harry J. Martin back with some BeamNG.drive, and in today's video I'm just going to be messing around with some of the new off-roaders that got added and trying to keep them in a straight line for the most part. They've added quite a few new off-road variants to the D series in the most recent update, this being one of them. It's a pre-runner, if you couldn't tell. Pre-run is designed to go over kind of rough terrain really quickly. It's not like a technical rock crawler or anything like that, it's only got rear-wheel drive. But one thing I've noticed is it can pull one hell of a burnout. Like, watch this. There you go, that's a nice burnout, that. Anyway, this looks like the perfect terrain to test this thing out, to be honest with you. CyberPunk 2077 kind of cock-up. On the contrasting kind of developers, like BeamNG, yeah, we've got real good developers, and they've made a real good job of this update, as they always do. But yeah, the CyberPunk release has been quite the failure from what I can tell. There's a lot of people complaining about a lack of optimization for last generation consoles, and the fact that it's just been rushed because of all the hype it got. I think that's what's happened. Obviously the developers have seen that it's, you know, it's got a lot of hype, everyone's very anticipant for it, and they've gone and rushed the release of it and left loads of little, like, just kind of things that needed attention really haven't got the attention they needed, is a good way of summarising it, I think. For example, the police in that game, apparently you can fight them to an extent, but from what I can tell they will always win, which isn't fun really, is it? I mean, you know, in GDA you can fight the police, and then when you're done with it, you know, you've run out of ammo or whatever, you can just bugger off, and you know, there's a little bit of effort involved in getting away from them, and yeah, we really didn't have enough speed for that, did we? You can just hop in a car and just like run off. Like, you literally have to go like 2 blocks away from what I can tell, and the police will, well, you'll lose them, which you could say that's great, but I think most people will agree with me on this, that it's just not fun. Like, the whole like element of losing the cops is always a fun thing to do in a game, you know, GTA to name an example, of course. So, you know, that element of fun, in most kind of open world games similar to that, is something they've really missed out on making a good job of. I also heard some things about they promised, like, the NPCs would have their own little unique, like, paths and, like, almost lives they'd live like a normal person would. And they promised that, and that just really hasn't been implemented how everyone expected it to be done, I think. And let's see if we can get a J-turn going here. Yeah, okay, that wasn't bad. We nearly ended up in the sea, but, you know, it was still a J-turn. I'm not exactly sure where I'm off to, but we'll just drop down there. Well, why not? We can. We've got a pre-runner. You've probably seen, like, a video before of, like, a Monster Energy, like, liveried pre-runner. That's probably, like, the most famous one on the internet. A lot of pre-runners seem to have a Monster Energy livery. I don't know. It just seems to be the sort of thing that Monster like to sponsor. Kind of, it's like Red Bull and mountain biking and stuff like that, and other extreme sports. Monster seem to like pre-runners, apparently. So, yeah. It would be cool, and I'm sure it will come about some point soon, a mod that adds a Monster Energy livery to this. I reckon that's going to be a mod that will arrive some point. Obviously, the developers aren't going to be able to implement that, because it's got product names in it, and they'll never get the rights to do that. But, you know, I think it'd make a cool mod. And before you go and say, oh, well, why don't you, instead of just suggesting it, why don't you do it yourself? Like, I don't know how to do that, for God's sake. I'm not a fucking developer. I have no clue how to make mods for this game. I think the most I've done is just, like, sort a little bit on a map out once that was annoying me. Like, just a little offset, like, I don't know, texture or something that just kept causing, like, the wheel to get grabbed. I managed to sort that out, and I was really proud of myself. But yeah, that's about where my knowledge kind of ends, I'm afraid. Anyway, yeah, on concrete, this thing's it's a bit of a handful. You can't go around a corner properly. Like, if you try to take a racing line, like I'll try and do, get on the brakes a little bit, yeah, fair enough. Turn in, and alright, granted, it made it round there, of course it did. But for the most part, you want to be trying to slide around corners, because it will just understeer because of the, you know, the centre of mass and the wallowy suspension. So it does handle quite a lot like an old American muscle car, if you ask me. Certainly on the pavement. Ah, I was hoping we were going to nail that jump. Another cool thing though in the update is the camera. It's now like aware of its surroundings, so if I try and like, you know, kind of clip into this building here, this like box, it'll just skirt right through it and onto the other side. It's the same if you try and go through the floor, it just kind of zooms in onto the vehicle, because obviously that's the camera mode we've got engaged. It does follow the vehicle, as you can see. But yeah, it's just a little cool thing that just makes the game play a little bit nicer, if you ask me. Now then, one thing that got added in the update was this thing. It's like a kind of a flatbed, you know, it's just a recovery truck really, but it's based off of a D-series pickup. And you know what's going to be really fun to do while the bikes come out? If he's just going to crash. Wow. Nice one, mate. And now he's on fire. That's great. I think you can see where this is going though, so when I've got him set back up, I'll rejoin you. Right, he's off, and I've got a little covert here. I want to keep it nice and small, make things as easy as possible. And hopefully this guy isn't going to spin out again on this corner. Has he just spun out? I really hope he hasn't. Well, I'd say he probably has, because he's going the wrong way. Oh, you're useless, you, mate. Well, we'd be able to do it right now if the bike wasn't broken, but of course it is, so yeah, that's not going to be happening. And he's going for the jump. Okay, I don't know. He's such a maniacal recovery driver that I wouldn't have this guy pick my Lambo up if it had broken down. Right then, I've got the truck down ahead, and hopefully my covert can catch it up. Although, please stay on the road. Let's see, can we do it? Yeah, we did it, and now we're going to fall off, but, you know, we did make it. That's all I wanted to do, and we made it. I'm very happy we did. Right then, here I've got the Rock Racer, which, I mean, I assume it's something like, it's in between a pre-runner and like a fully fledged rock crawler, is what I can kind of say this thing is. As you can see from that little bit of driving there, it's not quite as fast as a pre-runner, but it will certainly do a better job over terrain like this than the pre-runner would. As you can see, climbing up here, we haven't even locked the diffs or used the low range, and, you know, it's having absolutely no problem with all this here. I wouldn't really expect it to have an issue with any of this, but I guess if you did kind of take it to like a full kind of like section of like rocks to crawl over and some really steep angles, you might run into a little bit of trouble with this thing there. It's probably where you're looking for the proper like full-on rock crawler with all the suspension flex and travel. But yeah, this thing does a pretty damn good job of doing most things. As you can see, a little bit of jumping, a little bit of hill climbing and all that good shit. So yeah, I like this thing. It's a good compromise between something ridiculous and then something really slow. So yeah, it does work quite well. I quite like it actually. Right then, I think that will do for today's BeamNG video. Like I say, I will be going over the changes to the maps and the crawlers probably in the next video. But if you did enjoy this one, please do consider dropping it a like or perhaps a subscribe. And I shall see you all in the next video you watch, provided it's one of mine. Goodbye. Hit that jump. That jump's being hit. Definitely happening. This thing has an appalling turning circle. Come on. There we go. I don't even know if we're going to have enough speed for this, actually. I don't think we are. Oh, perfect, actually. That was mint. Can we nail the little slide at the end? No, of course we can't.